Hello, and welcome to the Great Game Debate Podcast, where friends come together to talk about video games and our lives. As always, I'm your host, Kaedhen Lane, and joining me this week is our man in the closet, as always, Wes Bates. How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
How's the weather in the closet this week?
Dude, it's storming pretty good here in California. This is the first good storm we've got here in like 10 months, which is awesome because we need it so bad. But at the same time, personally, it's bad for me and my job because I work in agriculture and we've got crops in the field still that are going to be like ruined basically. So it's kind of a mixed blessing, I guess. But we need the water. But yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm all hyped up on Metroid. So you know,
dude.
yeah.
Who isn't?
Exactly.
Right. Well, and we're also was the godfather of the debate himself, Jonah Gomez, taking a giant crap on Metroid.
What? No, I am super excited for Metroid.
He's super Metroid excited.
Oh, okay.
Jonah, when did you start hating Metroid? Like, was this from a childhood thing, or is it new?
See, it happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Oh, wait, is that something else? I'm not sure. I'm doing all right.
Awesome. And you may have heard him, but that's our special guest this week, Preston Wilke. How you doing, man?
Good.
Hey.
I am doing great. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so honored y'all asked me to be on. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. Well,
it's been a long time coming. Here.
3 months of planning about.
Wow, I didn't realize. Wes, we need to pay you more. Oh wait, we don't pay anybody anything. Oh well. Well, you guys, I hope you stopped by the Dune planet Arrakis on your way and picked up your weirding module, because it's time for the Icebreaker. All right, Preston, we're going to give you the interview treatment. You're best known in our circle for Level Zero Podcast, which I feel like if anyone has any amount of interest in video games at all should be listening to. It's just fantastic. I was just listening to part 1 of your history of Sega, which has just been so enlightening. Like I had no idea that Sega did not start out as a Japanese company. It's just extremely interesting.
Yeah.
But
that show is so good. If you have any interest in gaming history at all, please check out Level Zero, because sorry, Preston, I have to do the plug. You're good. Because your show is just so dang good.
The production value.
Oh yeah.
I have to try to evangelize as much as I can because I love it so much.
I hope Greg is listening to y'all right now, because he better be grinning ear to ear, because this is all him. A lot of it is his baby that I was just allowed to come and help support. And so it was something that I was very excited to join him in on. But I mean, the production value, all of the effort, all of the research, everything that's gone into a lot of these episodes, especially the Sega one, a lot of that is Greg specifically. And that's been like that since the beginning. I believe one of his first episodes was the history of Nintendo, where he got to have the phone conversation with Mr. Mario himself. Mario.
Yeah, I keep wondering, where did he get his number to make those Teams calls?
Right.
How does he get the hookup for this?
He knows all of the people, but whenever we start reaching out for interviews, it's like everything just shuts down. Haven't you seen we've talked to Mr. Mario himself? But since the beginning, he's put in so much of himself and his creative endeavors and all of this hard work into making sure that each one of these episodes is really fantastically produced. And so I wholeheartedly agree with y'all. If you have not listened to Level Zero Podcast, you can go back and listen to, I think we're at 16 episodes or so. And there's plenty to go through, but it's not an overwhelming amount by any means. Many of the episodes are 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I drive all day, so it was easy for me to catch up in one day, but I mean, you can easily do it within a week. There's not too much there to be overwhelmed by.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, Preston, how did you and Greg kind of get hooked up together? Because I think he started that kind of on his own, and then you've kind of joined in and are working with him now on season 2. How did you guys like come together to start collaborating on this?
So I had my own show a while ago called Press X to Doubt. That was this time last year we started it, and it was fairly short lived. But we had Greg on for our second episode, and really, really nice and supporting us and like helping me out with a lot of the early learning stuff. And so we kept up over the next like 6 months or so. And whenever he went on hiatus in the summer, he had a little baby Harvey. And so whenever he went on hiatus in the summer, he just reached out and was like, "Hey, I know you don't really have your own show going on anymore. Would you want to come on and just help me out with production, make your own episodes, stuff like that?" And I guess it was right at E3 because I immediately was like, "All right, I'm making an episode about E3. You're not able to go on hiatus yet. Sorry, buddy." And so I just jumped right in, made an episode for E3. And it's got its faults, but I'm still very proud of the episode and some of the information in there.
Oh yeah, it was a good episode too. I really enjoyed that one.
Thank you.
I didn't know that you had such a heavy hand in that episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was just that was my baby. It almost felt like a interview episode. And again, no one's getting paid here. We're not making any money off of this. It's not a business, but it's like whenever you're coming into something that he had built and you're trying to prove yourself not only to like him but also to the audience, which is we're all friends. Many of us, our audience is our friends, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not like anyone was going to come after me and be like, "You're ruining the show" or anything.
Yeah.
But you still want to do a good job. So I joined in with him in the summer, and we've been developing season 2. We've got a couple interviews we've got one big interview coming up for November that's going to be split into 2 parts.
Cool.
He's working on part 2 of Sega right now. And he got another interview for that one with a different video game researcher.
Cool.
So we're just chugging along at this point.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Nice. And then along with the podcast, you're also supporting Level Zero with some other side content. I know that you do some streams for Level Zero, and then you've also got another little thing you call Indie Tale. Can you tell us about Indie Tale?
Yeah. So Indie Tale is our streaming interview show, where some Wednesdays, and it's kind of off and on. I'm trying to get the schedule back going again. I will interview a indie game developer about their indie game while playing their indie game. So it's an indie showcase where I bring on the developer and sort of talk about the decisions behind it. So we had Charles McGregor on for Hyperdot. We had Rich McLaughlin for Opus Switch. We had most recently the developers of Crawl Yard, which has a demo on Steam, and Adam Saltzman from Finji. So that was a really big interview. But yeah, it's just sort of being able to talk about the games we love with the people that made them and figure out like how did you come to the decisions behind these games. And to me, one of the most enlightening ones was Rich McLaughlin's, because he brought in like prototypes of Opus Switch and he showed us like from the ground up the full creation and had screenshots. Cool. And it was really neat. And all of this is on our YouTube channel as well. It's all saved. We've done a couple little video reviews. And a lot of this is like, our focus is the podcast, right? And then this stuff is just like bonus. If we feel like making it, we make it. If we don't feel like making it, we don't make it. And it's not something that we feel necessarily like we want to stress over in any way. And we don't, because again, it's hard to really, you're not going to make a living off of it. And so it's whenever we can, we do.
Fair enough.
I haven't checked out that Rich McLaughlin Indie Tale yet, but I'm going to do that. I watched the Charles McGregor one on Friday, and it was really great. Yeah.
That was a lot of
I
fun
enjoyed
too.
it. Yeah.
You'd be so amazed. And I know Rich just has, I guess, the most supportive colleagues and the most supportive friends, because that video and stream like far surpassed many of our other ones in a really great way. Like, it was so cool to see his game like get attention on LinkedIn and YouTube during the stream. And it's a really cool little indie game that you can find on Xbox, but you got to go searching for it.
Mhm.
And so it was really neat to see like that much support.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's all
Cool.
about the community, dude.
Yeah.
Well, Wes and Jonah, do you guys have any burning questions left for Preston
We
before
got
we move
one.
on?
When you guys put out an episode every month, correct?
Yeah, we try to. Yeah.
Or try to. So, the most recent one did come out in October, right?
Oh yeah. So if it's a two-parter, like with Sega, then we try to get them both out within the month.
Okay.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah. So we're again, no promises.
Yeah, no
but
promises. Yeah.
we've got part two. Part two is actually being split up into two parts. So it turned out to be much more.
You're
you're
turning into a Hobbit situation here.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, history of Sega. That'll be a fun, quick, all the research will be right there. And then you get into it. It's like, oh, this is actually, Kaedhen, like what you were saying, this is actually like 80 years of progress that we're trying to cover. And so that's getting split up. But episode 2 should be coming up this week, I believe on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're getting that
Excellent.
out. Yeah, I'm very
and then we're going to try to follow that one up with part 3 the following week. So it's like a really weird release schedule, but we're just trying to get through Sega so we can move on to our other the next section.
Oh, I was hoping he was going to spill a little bit of beans. We were going to get the exclusive.
Just got a whiff.
It is an interview with someone that is very friendly, and I'm so excited to actually get to put it out there. And I am a terrible podcast host because I still have not edited it, and we recorded it in August. And just real quick, I mean, this is Wes, you're definitely part of this, and so we're still very grateful for you coming on. But Brian and I do have Trivia Punks.
Oh, I was just about to. I was just about to bring that up because I was like, you're part of something else as well.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this too, because this is an awesome show that I had the privilege of being a part of one of the episodes, and we definitely should highlight this too. So tell us about Trivia Punks.
So Trivia Punks, and if you haven't listened to it, go back, check out the Wes episode. We have 3 episodes out so far. Bob Buell, Wes Bates, and most recently Odell Harmon Jr. And what we do is we reach out with a Google form, and we just say, what are your interests? What's your favorite movies, TV? What are some other hobbies? Like Wes had said that he was a roping, right? Team roper.
I used to do
wow.
A little bit of rodeo team roping
back
in the day.
Very
Back in
cool.
my youth, like 30, 40, 50 years ago,
Caught my jacket. And so we try to build a trivia show based on those interests. So we have 5 rounds. Each of those rounds has 5 questions. If you get 3 out of the 5 questions right, you win that round. If you get 3 out of the 5 rounds right, you win the game. But either way, we still play all the way through. And so whenever we had Wes on, we wanted to make sure that we highlighted not only The Simpsons, but we also wanted to highlight the team roping events and the stuff that maybe is a little bit more off the wall for people that don't know that person. And is a little bit more interesting because it's more off the wall.
Yeah.
And so that's been a ton of fun to record. Again, most recently we had Odell on. We were able to talk about, I think our first section was titled American Tale Miles Goes West. Where
that one was super fun. I really, really enjoyed that topic. I listened to it on Friday on my drive home, and man, that was great.
Yeah, so what we did for that was I came up with I had quotes from An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, and then I had quotes from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because he said those were his 2 favorite movies, and he had to figure out which one, like what quote went with which movie.
That's so sick.
It's so weird because there's like a weird amount of crossover where it's like this could be from either movie, and I don't understand how.
That's
so
insane.
There was a ton of stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a blast, and I'm so excited to be part of that as well. And that was something that Brian and I actually came to independently, and then approached Greg about it each independently. And Greg was like, "Here, friends, meet. Y'all are both approaching me to do this show. I don't have the time right now. I'm sorry, but I'm sure y'all will make a great show of it." And I feel like we have made a great show of it.
Oh, you guys have for
recommend it.
sure. You and Brian have like such a fun dynamic between the two of you, and like the little bit of banter, because sometimes you guys will go a little bit off the rails, and then one of you is just like, "Okay, we got to bring it back to the game. We got to bring it back."
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Again, whenever you're like discussing these like sort of off the wall topics, it opens up for so much conversation and works so well.
Yeah,
it's been really fun.
Yeah, and it's a really cool way to introduce people that you may not have heard of as well. Because I had never heard of Odell before. You're listening to your show, and I'm like, this guy sounds awesome. So I immediately when I started following him on Twitter and checking out some of his stuff, because he's got a podcast, and it's a really cool way to kind of meet some new people.
For sure, yeah.
We've got potentially this month. Brian also just recently had a baby, so we are not sure necessarily if we're going to be able to record this month, but we've got a couple more guests lined up that we're very excited about and that are not necessarily part of our regular rotation. And so that's going to be, that might even be extended out to January or something. So it's not anytime soon, but it's something that I'm really looking forward to.
Congrats, Brian.
Congrats, Brian.
All right,
on top of that, I know he won't be listening to this live, obviously, because it's only 4 of us. But happy birthday, J. Hunter Pearson!
Oh yeah, it's Hunter's birthday.
Yeah,
let go.
Good call out.
Happy birthday!
One of the most philanthropic people I've ever met.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finding the PS5s for the needy.
he's been Xboxes. He's been getting the Xboxes too.
Hell of a guy.
Well, our listeners definitely now have a glut of new podcasts to listen to. But I'm going to go and turn it over to Jonah to helm our debate.
All right, friends. It is time for the debate again. But you know what? You know us for the great game debate and us talking about the great games. But I think this week we're going to turn the tables a little bit, and we're going to talk about the great game mistakes of the industry.
What?
No way.
In our bottom left corner, we have Preston Wilke representing Anthem, BioWare's multiplayer game?
It was.
And in our right-hand corner, we have Kaedhen Lane representing Knack. And if you're a little bit confused on why we are debating these two games against each other, we're debating at which one of these games was a bigger mistake for the industry.
Harsh.
That being said, we have Wes Bates as our lovely assist trophy this week. How are you feeling, Wes?
I'm very much looking forward to this this debate. I can't wait to hear Kaedhen and Preston represent their games, I guess you could say.
So, rules are the same. We have the 2-minute opening thought for each one of our debaters, and then instead of a rebuttal, we're gonna do a praise, I suppose, since the other person is gonna have to try and talk up the other person's game. And then we'll go into our closing thoughts, and then we'll close out the debate. Remember, you have Wes as your assist trophy, an additional 30 seconds on one of your segments when you choose. Are you guys ready to go?
Oh, so ready.
I'm so
All right.
nervous. I'm actually more ready than
Knack.
Anthem was at launch, though. So
I'm just ready. I got Knack relics coming out of my ass.
I have this little...
Some of those are pointy, so I'm sorry for that.
I have this little link, because I don't know where my coin went. Preston, heads or tails?
I'm going to say tails.
It is heads. Kaedhen, would you like to start or close?
Let's just go right into it. I'll start.
Thank you.
All right. Kaedhen, we've got 2 minutes on the clock. Ready, set, go.
Right, all you really need to know about Knack is it's a PS4 game with PS3 graphics with not even PS2 gameplay, PS1 gameplay, okay? There are games with more advanced gameplay than Knack on the PS1. Now, what makes this so horrifying is that Knack was billed as a showpiece for the power of the PlayStation 4. And literally, the only thing impressive about Knack is that his body is comprised of like 100 tiny objects that are all rendered and animated at the same time. And everything about the rest of the game is just garbage design. The graphics are gross, like normal mapped looking, like Wallace and Gromit clay people, and like the music's not memorable. The story makes no sense. It's like a post like future city with advanced technology and flying cars and lasers and robots, but there's also like a civilization of like low tech, like tribal goblin people that like live in the woods around the cities or whatever, and they're at war, and for some reason the people with guns and airplanes and robots can't beat the goblins with bows and arrows. And Knack, even though he's like an ancient construct of some ancient civilization with a super advanced alien technology, just talks like he's like Ron Perlman, like
30 seconds.
Sexy cocky Ron Perlman. Okay, so Knack has 3 forms. There's like ice and wood form, and they don't give you any new abilities. They just make you weaker. Ice makes you just melt in sunlight, and wood just makes you burn to death from fire, which is normal. So it's like you play through the game and you get power-ups, and they just make you weaker and make the gameplay more irritating, and you die in 1 or 2 hits. Why is the game as hard as it is? It looks like it's for children. I just don't understand. Knack, Mark Cerny, stop developing games, please.
Beautiful.
Mark, you gotta stop.
Stick to hardware, Mark. Come on.
You are going to bring down the wrath of all Donkey fans. They're going to be coming after you.
Oh, no. I didn't think about that one.
All right, Preston, how are you feeling after that opening statement?
Nervous. I mean, you've sold me on never selling me Knack.
Yeah. Please, never.
All right, Preston, we got 2 minutes on the clock. Ready, set, go.
See, the thing about selling me on never selling me Knack is that at least in 2 years, you'll be able to play Knack. Anthem will not be available as of like, I don't know, at least online servers, you won't be able to play the game how it was meant to be played very quickly, if not right now, because there is no one playing it. Now, that's not to say that even whenever it came out, you were playing it the way it was probably meant to be played because of studio decisions and studio interference ruining a lot of that experience. Now, if you were to go back through and you were to look at the marketing, you would see this idea of being Iron Man, flying around the world, being able to go in, shoot your blast with your lasers and your cool weather powers. But what you got was this weird limited range of powers where there was a stamina bar on your exploration boost. And then ultimately, whenever you went into the hub world, you would think that because you are so fast and all these other things, and they want to make an action game focused around feeling powerful, they would give you more than just a slight stride through the area. It is worse than the Red Dead Redemption 2 camp if you want to try to get around walking in that hub world. And what they do is it's everything scattered. All the missions, you can see them all over this hub world. It's not one singular spot.
30 seconds.
And luckily, they did patch in a like quick start, but those missions are nothing but fetch quests. There was a gate locking thing that was like you had to collect 10 of these random drop items, so you were before you could progress in the 10-hour meager story that wasn't even that good. So ultimately, I guess final statement is you'll still be able to play Knack in 2 years. I'm just gonna come back to that one.
All right.
It's a compelling argument. It's a compelling argument.
Very much so. Very much so.
There's an expiration date on Anthem.
All right, Kaedhen, are you ready to praise Anthem for everything
yeah.
that it's done for
About to take
gaming?
it to church. Let's praise it.
All right. 3, 2, 1, debate.
All right, really, the only problem with Anthem is one of perspective. You just have to change your expectations when you go into Anthem. I mean, you can regularly get Anthem on sale for like less than $10, and if you just like broaden your mind and think of it as, even though it's not what it was intended by the developers, which wanted it to be a multiplayer games as a service game, just think of it as a single player campaign that you'll just stop playing when you beat the final mission. The game, it's a beautiful game. The graphics are like the waterfalls, the flying over the forest and seeing all the trees and the birds flying over the trees. It's, if anything else, you can appreciate the graphics. And for me, a lot of games have been saved by otherwise mediocre games have been saved by just having good movement. I think of like Ys 8. It's just like insane to just sprint super fast, to jump and tuck and roll and like dodge around in that game. Spider-Man PS4, just like if all that game was just swinging around on the webs, it would still be a 10 out of 10. Anthem, like just the cliche of it makes you feel like Iron Man, like it really does. Just being able to fly around and witness the beauty of the natural open world. And even though the game has a terrible end game and no content after you beat the story missions, like what's there in terms of the gameplay is still fun for the short journey you have until you exhaust the content. In terms of gameplay depth, you've got several different kinds of these classes, the mech suits, the javelins that you control, and the build variety with the guns and the gear and the components to really get a lot of replayability of the campaign, just change your depth. And meanwhile in Knack, you just spam the same 3-button combo and build up your meter to do your super attack, and it's just super boring in Knack. And just give Anthem a chance.
Time. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, assist trophy.
Oh, assist trophy. Okay.
Oh, let's go.
So as Kaedhen mentioned, it's a really, really beautiful looking game. And the thing about this game that really stands out to me, I mean, is the visual design. Like, so you do have all these power armors, and they're all aesthetically like very appealing and nice to look at. The armors, they look awesome. You're flying around and you're just blasting stuff. There's explosions going off left and right. The gunplay looks excellent, and so from a gameplay standpoint, it just looks like a fun game.
Time.
Ooh, that's good.
That was
concise.
Yeah, it was very good, Wes. Very good.
A shame.
I hope you have that for Knack as well.
All right, Preston. You still feeling good, man? Still feeling a little nervous?
Honestly, that hype up of Anthem did make me even more nervous, because the whole time I was like, you're right. Like, I kind of want to go back and blast some more monsters while feeling like Iron Man. But there were a bunch of things that I wish I could just like tear into, but I can't.
Okay.
You can in the conclusion.
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
You've got the chance.
I'm coming for your arguments.
All right, Preston, are you ready to praise Knack? 3, 2, 1, debate.
All right, so y'all both talked about like the wonderful stellar visuals of Anthem, but the thing is that Knack was like the protogenitor of these wonderful particle effects. You remember whenever the PlayStation 4 was announced and they said, you can't do these particle effects without Knack, without the individual Knacks or whatever they're called. You need them to have so many. he was the foundation for modern gaming visuals. And now the thing about the story, you brought up the idea of, these like gremlins in the woods taking on the ultra powerful. That's a story for modern times. We understand that industrialization is what's causing the end of this world. And Knack was making a statement on industrialization before it was cool to do so. Besides, we all loved and saw Avatar in theaters. And are you going to say that's any different? We all forgot about it immediately, but we still loved it in that 3 hours that we were in there. Now, I can't remember, was Knack a 3D game? It seems like it should have been a 3D game. Yeah. It had to have been a 3D game. 3D was the wave of the future that we all forgot about as soon as it stopped. But for a moment there, it was really, really neat, just like Knack's particle physics. I have nothing to say about the gameplay, but simplified gameplay can be good in that you don't want to overwhelm someone that's new. Again, you were saying it's for children. You want to make sure that they know that 3 buttons is all you need to get through this game. You said earlier that this game was so hard, but if it's only 3 buttons, Kaedhen, how is it so hard? It's very easy, and it's very comfortable to learn and get into. And I'll tell you, it shipped as a complete product. We didn't need a Knack next, did we?
Time.
I'm starting to get salty for no reason.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Dude, I'm trying so hard not to cry right now.
Knack on par with Avatar. You heard it here first.
Woo! Oh my god, that is.
I'm getting too into it.
That was probably one of the best rebuttals I've ever heard.
I don't know how much it was accurate, but...
And I did start going after the arguments at the end rather than just phrasing it.
Yeah.
All right, Kaedhen.
Oh wait, we can use this as trophy at the beginning, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, if you want to throw it out at the beginning, that's fine.
All right, Kaedhen, are you ready for your final thoughts?
I guess.
All right. 3, 2, 1, close it out.
One thing I will say about Anthem was, while it was shipped in a broken state, even though eventually the plans for the project were axed, it did receive some amount of post-launch support that ironed out a lot of the most egregious bugs, like just losing game audio and stuff like that. And now it's a much more smooth, it also did come out with a next-gen patch for PS5 and Xbox Series X that makes it run at 60 frames per second and has faster loading times with SSD. So, playing Anthem in 2021 is a huge improvement over playing it at launch. Whereas Knack got literally no support after launch. That game does have bugs. I had a particular instance where I beat a boss at the end of a level, and you're just supposed to go to the door at the end of the boss arena, and it triggers a cutscene, and then the mission ends, and it just would not trigger the cutscene. And then I replayed the mission, same thing happened, and I uninstalled and reinstalled Knack. Same thing happened. Just could not get past this bug, and that bug is still there today. No post-launch support. Somehow we have a Knack 2. Don't know whose idea that was. Where do I go with this?
30 seconds.
Let me just highlight another horrible thing about Knack. Okay, full disclosure, I had to play through Knack because I lost a bet to Jonah. That's how bad it is. It's the butt of a bet, and I couldn't even finish it. And the game has unlockable extra forms for Knack that give him extra powers that you can use on New Game Plus. The fact that people, the developers thought that people would actually want to play this game more than once blows my mind. Knack, you suck.
Going after his character.
Sorry, I took a swig of my drink and started choking on it, so if you hear coughing in the background during Kaedhen's closing thoughts, I'm sorry. That's my B. I think I'm better now. Preston, are you ready to close out the debate?
Assist trophy.
Okay. We're adding 30 seconds onto the clock. Wes, are you ready to start this out?
Yes, I am.
All right. 3, 2, one debate.
So Kaedhen mentioned perspective, and it's all about perspective and how you play the game. And so one thing you should know about Knack is Knack can't take a beating. He gets wiped out within 1 or 2 hits, but his enemies also get wiped out within 1 or 2 hits. So essentially, what you've got is a high-risk, high-reward game. It's essentially Devil May Cry's Heaven or Hell mode. And so, this is excellent. Also, whenever Knack explodes, he explodes into a beautiful cacophony of color.
Do I just go right into it?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so Knack got a Knack 2. Anthem got axed before it could even get to Anthem 1.3. So it is clearly going to be the worst game if it couldn't even garner not even a sequel, but good post-launch content. It did get patched. It did get some workarounds. But even still, if you don't have the audience and you don't have the people to play with and you don't have the game as originally intended, then is that any better having the ability to play it whenever you don't want to and no one else is going to be there? Now, also, I would like to remind y'all that EA supported Star Wars Battlefront 2 for years and brought that game back from the dead and from the ire of public perception to one of the most beloved Star Wars games of all time. Yet, whenever Anthem came out, it was so bad that they just said, no, we cannot support this anymore. We're moving on to the next projects. Don't even worry about it. Let's pretend it never happened. Now, Knack. Oh man, that's what I was going to say earlier whenever I was thinking. It's the high risk, high reward kind of gameplay that people love to play. Do you hate Dark Souls as well? Do you hate Bloodborne? Because that's all that Knack is trying to emulate.
30 seconds.
It was the protogenitor of Soulsborne games in a way before. Maybe before? No, not before. Before those styles came out. Whereas Anthem will not have a legacy. Anthem will be forgotten. And everyone will say, hey, do you remember Anthem? And people will respond with a resounding and loud, what?
Next time.
Heard it here first, folks. Miyazaki-san played Knack and then got in a time machine and went back into the past to make Demon Souls, inspired by Knack.
That's where he got the inspiration for Bloodborne.
I think he and Cerny were, in cahoots, for years beforehand,
Oh man, dude. Wow.
Put it on level 0 in the
something else.
The history of Knack.
Oh man, if you guys ever did like fake history videos,
that's actually a fun idea. That would be
holy crap.
The history of Souls. Souls actually started as a progenitor to Knack.
The history of Knack. There is no history. He is and always was.
Yeah.
So there was one time where you had an opportunity and you missed it, Preston. You said Knack is made up of a bunch of knacks. You should have said he's made up of a bunch of knickknacks.
Let's see. I got to make sure. Hold on. Progenitor. Damn it! I was saying progenitor.
It's
cool
okay.
word.
It's dope. It's dope.
Progenitor.
It's okay.
I knew I had it wrong.
I wouldn't have known. That's too big of a word for this smooth brain.
Sounds like something from Metroid.
It does.
Progenitor.
I was like combining it with prototype.
Okay.
Thanks.
So now's the time for us to vote. And God dang it, you guys made this one really hard.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I would also...
What?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear your thought real quick.
I do want to say that we're bashing on these games and making a game out of bashing on these games. But people worked very hard on these games, and they're great.
No, we respect everything that the developers do.
We respect all of the effort that has gone.
It's the management. It was the management. It wasn't the artist.
And I wish that Anthem had gotten that next so bad. Like, it really could have been excellent.
I learned today that Anthem, when they were supposedly working on the next update, it had like, at any given time between 30 to 50 people working on it. Like that's it. Like
Yeah,
EA did
yeah.
not care,
Right. They backed way down. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just so many people putting their like souls into the game that they thought was
Yeah.
going to be like, another Destiny, like some big hit. And then it just, because of that studio interference and pushing it out, it just fell apart. Like it could have been great. It really could have been. And there's a
Now,
lot of glimpses of a fantastic game in there.
while I do agree with that statement in regards to Anthem, and I usually try to be non-toxic, there's just no defending Knack. Like if you worked on Knack, you should be ashamed of yourself. Delete it from your resume and hope no one ever finds out. It's a terrible, terrible game. Never play it.
No.
That's awful. All right.
Please, nobody at Mark Cerny, please clip from this episode. Please don't do it.
Preston, are you gonna play Knack after this?
No, God, no. You did a good job of convincing me to stay away.
So for my pick, and this was again very difficult. I think Preston sold me on Anthem being the worst game because not only did it not get a sequel, it didn't even get post-game support. So my vote is going to go towards Preston. Wes, how are you feeling?
I'm also gonna go with Preston on this one, just because the fact that he mentioned like that this game won't even actually be playable in several years. I mean, that was like, okay, you can't even support it to the point where you can still play it. I mean, and like you said, Knack got a sequel, and yeah, they flat out steamrolled Anthem, unfortunately. Kaedhen, though, I got to give it to you. I mean, you did a heck of a job.
I knew going into this.
If it was any other game, I think you would have taken it.
I knew the fact that the game will not be playable in a few years was going to be the huge hurdle. But I would like to present an argument that doesn't matter because the debate's over. But would it technically make Knack a worse game that in a few years you can still actually play it and you're spared for being subjected to Anthem because you can't play it?
That's true.
That is also very fair.
So no one comes at me in the in my DMs. Anthem is currently at Anthem 1.7. So it almost made it there. It was so close.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite finish it though.
All right. Yep. To close out this debate, we have our results from last week's debate, and man, was it a landslide. Oh my really? God. The winner absolutely destroyed in the votes. Winning 10-4 was our man Wes Bates taking the trophy. Ooh. Representing Kefka versus Luca Blight. Now, that was a fantastic debate. That was an insane debate. And you know what? Congrats, Wes. You killed it, man. You killed it.
I think it was more the character that killed it than my debate representing the character, because Kim brought the fire, and I think that if more, the sad thing is that I think not enough people have played Suikoden 2. So if more people have played that game, then I think that maybe it would have gone the other way. But PSA, take some time today, go and find Suikoden 2, play Suikoden 2.
Hell yeah. For sure.
It'll just take like an hour, no big deal.
I think an hour of that game is enough to really give you a taste of that villain, honestly.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, Kaedhen, that's all I got for the debate. We can
all right,
move on.
We're gonna roll right into our next segment, the pitch. Wherein each of us, well, maybe not Jonah this week, but some of us will bring a game that we've been playing and try to sell it to the other panelists. I will just nominate myself to go first. I will tighten some little straps on my gloves and pull down the visor on my hat against the sun and mount the pitcher's mound.
Ooh, I like that.
my game this week is a new indie game called Inscryption. So, Jonah, if you want to set me up with a timer and give me the go,
I got you,
will go.
baby. We ready to go. You ready to throw that pitch, boy?
Yeah.
Let's play ball. Go.
All right, so you've heard it before. Oh, it's an indie deck builder roguelite. You know, they come a dime a dozen. They're all trying to capitalize on the success that Slay the Spire came out with. But what Inscryption does different is subvert your expectations. So you start out in this creepy, it's a 3D yet lo-fi, like crunchy PS1 texture environment, and you're across the table, and your opponent is enwreathed in a curtain of shadow, and all you can see are his ominously glowing eyes. And he begins instructing you on how to play this card game with him, telling you that if you lose, he's going to kill you. And at one point in the game, after you get through the tutorial turns, all of a sudden the guy says, "Get up," and you're like, "What?" And then he's like, "Go get that candlestick for me by the door," and you're like, "What?" And then it prompts you to press back on your controller, keyboard, or whatever, and you do it, and then your character sits up from the table, and you can start walking around the room that the card game is being played on the table inside of. And around the walls of the room, there are all these intriguing looking, strange, like Resident Evil style puzzles. There's like a wood carved squirrel holding a golden knife with an empty like socket next to it for some kind of mechanism. There's an ornate puzzle drawer with strange button combinations on it that unlocks some hidden vaults within, and it's all, you're like, what is going on? How did I get myself in here? How am I going to survive long enough against my opponent in this card game to give myself time to interact with the puzzles around the room to get whatever I need to do to extricate myself from the situation? And meanwhile, the card game is actually really fun the whole time. So even if you die, it's just like, cool, I get to play more of this cool card game. And I didn't spend a lot of time describing the rules on that, but hopefully you guys will ask me questions about it.
That's time.
Thumbs up.
All right.
Right. Hit me with your questions.
That does sound really fascinating.
It does.
Yeah.
How much of the world around you like grows and changes as you progress in the game?
So it seems, I've only played like 3 hours of it, and like the room you're in doesn't change and it doesn't expand unless it does, and I just haven't got that far. But what's changing is your ability to interact with the puzzles around the room, and some of them, as you solve them, they like unlock new cards that like make your deck stronger and stuff like that. But the other weird thing is you're just playing the game and the cards seem like normal cards, and you're just playing the game, and then all of a sudden you draw this one card that's like a runt, like wolf pup, and the card art starts animating. He starts talking to you directly, like the card is talking to you, and you're like, what? And so this character is like trying to, while you're playing the game against your opponent who wants to murder you, he's trying to secretly talk to you like through the card and give you like clues on what you need to do to like solve the puzzles in the environment, and like more stuff like that starts happening too. It's really bizarre.
Oh, that's cool.
Just a terrible time for the LSD to start kicking in. Just
Yeah.
right in the middle of the card game, you
This
know?
game, yeah, it's so meta and weird and drug induced. Yeah.
So we talk about this genre, I feel like, fairly regularly on this show. It comes up at least 3-4 times a year over the last year. This is not typically like a genre that I go in for, because I'm not really into these kind of like card-based, games like Slay the Spire and whatnot. Mostly because I feel like I'm not, I don't know, I guess intelligent enough to really grasp and play the game well. So from the standpoint of like easing you into it, teaching you the rules, like how does the game do with kind of easing a new player that may not be familiar with this kind of genre of game into the experience?
I think it does a really good job because it actually it drip feeds you new mechanics as you die. So like the game starts off seemingly really simple, and then you die, and then it introduces a new mechanic, and then you get as far as you can with that, and then you die, and then it introduces a new mechanic. So it's doing that for like the first few times that you die, instead of just like throwing you in the deep end all at once.
So it's almost like a I hate to compare it to Hades, but in the way that kind of Hades kind of like
Yeah.
kind of progresses the story by your
Mm.
death. It's
I will
something kind
say
of similar to
too,
that, or
so it's kind of the special sauce for roguelites or likes, to me, is what Hades does with the story. You have that, nugget of story to look forward to after you die, so it still feels like you're making progress. And Inscryption does that too. So not only are you like unlocking new game mechanics that make the card game more interesting every time you die, but the story's progressing. Like this specter in the shadows that you're playing against starts giving you more information about himself and the situation after you die, and then you start what I was talking to before, like some of the cards that are actually like sentient and start talking to you, give you more information after you die and stuff like that. So yeah, right now I think I've died like 3 times, and it's like I- each time I've died has not been like frustrating. It's like something new and cool happens with the story and the gameplay, so it just makes me want to keep playing. So
That's cool. I got a couple questions for you. First off, how much is the game, and what do you play it on? Like, what can you play it on?
I may have to Google that. I know it's on PC. I'm playing it on Steam right now, and it's really cheap. I think I got it for $20. I want to say it's $20 full priced. Let's see here. So it is on. Yeah, it's literally only on PC right
Okay.
now. And yeah, $20 full price. It's currently on sale for $18 for like a launch discount.
Okay.
So, it's I guess that kind of blows you can't play it if you don't have a PC, but I'm sure they're probably working on at least putting this on Switch because indie games blow up on the Switch. But
And then my second question for you is, you said that it's like kind of like a PS2 visuals, right? Something like
yeah,
that.
it's like really really crunchy textures like MGS1 kind of.
The the card art though, that's like a big thing for these kinds of games. How is that?
So the card art is actually pretty simplistic. It's like pixel line art kind of. But I think in this setting it like works because it like matches the aesthetic of the rest of the game, and it kind of matches like the simplicity of the card game. Like the game starts off simple, and it gets more complex over time, but it is really easy to get into. You think of something like Magic the Gathering, and it's got all these different card types and different colors. It's got like creatures and summons and enchantments and equipment and all this. Like all this game has are creatures, and you set up creatures across from your opponent's creatures, and then they fight each other. But then the game starts slowly introducing new mechanics. Like there's creatures that fly that go over other creatures. There's creatures with the reach that can block flying creatures. There's creatures that when they die, they create a special resource called bones that can bring other special creatures onto the field that only can be summoned with bones. So yeah, it's really it's that classic, cliche line, right? Like easy to get into, hard to master type of
Okay.
thing. But I do think the line art works, and I like it in this game. So
Cool.
what's the general vibe? I mean, it sounds like a very kind of dark game
yeah.
overall, but is it
Yeah.
is it like dark and cheesy, like, or is it trying to play it pretty straight laced, like pretty like more of like like a straight up horror game, or
Yeah, I'd say like there's like elements of whimsy that like offset the creepiness, like the fact that you've got a card like talking to you. But I think that is like a nice, juxtaposed to the heaviness of it, and it's probably necessary. But overall, it has a very like oppressive, dark vibe. It's like you're in this dimly lit room in a cottage, like a log cabin or whatever, and like your opponent has like these creepy old gnarled hands. Like when you die, he's just like in this impenetrable wall of shadow that you can't see except for his eyes. And when you lose at the card game, he just starts reaching his hands out slowly out of the shadows, and they're like horrifying, gnarly looking, and then he just strangles you. Like,
Oh,
so yeah, the game, it has a super creepy, like oppressive vibe, but like in a cool way.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So earlier, You said that Knack was like a PlayStation 1 game. Do you just hate PlayStation 1 games? That should be a good thing. So Inscryption, that I'm pretty sold on that. Like that.
Yeah.
I'm not the meta narrative to me is like the biggest draw. And so you say it does take it pretty seriously, but it's still like that fantastical nature to it makes it a little bit more palatable, I guess, than it's not a straight horror game, right?
Right, yeah. There's not like you're not gonna see like a zombie pulling someone's intestines out of their stomach. It's more like a vibe. It's not like
it's more
see,
atmospheric
or like yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps like even a little bit of psychological horror.
Ooh.
But definitely not like gore, like monster horror or anything like that. Yeah.
I too am sold on this game. I really am like I think I've seen a trailer for it and I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting, but that you've gone in and given me more of a deep dive on it, like I'm definitely sold on this game and I do want to check it out some more.
Wait, you can bum it off my Steam account, buddy.
Oh, I can! Oh, yes!
It's free. What do you think?
Yeah, so for me, I think I would be more convinced to try this game out of a lot of those other games that we've talked about before, like Monster Train and Slay the Spire, just because it sounds so intriguing. Just kind of the premise and the fact you can get up from the table and walk around and there's all these other weird puzzles and stuff. The fact that it's only available on PC right now, probably not going to take the time to play it at this point. So what I'm going to say is I think I will check it out when it hits consoles.
Hey,
Nice.
Wes.
Yes, sir.
I know a guy. He tends to lend his homies his Steam account. I'll get in touch and you might not have to buy it.
I don't think I will take the time to sit at my laptop to play that game at this point.
Cool.
So
Well, I'll take that as a 2.5 out of 3.
That's the biggest issue. I think the game itself sounds cool. It's just the platform. Nothing against PC. We're going back to that console versus PC debate again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
will say card games are really nice to play with a mouse. Like it just is very intuitive. You just click it, drag it.
It just sounds like a good Switch game to me.
Yeah, it probably, for sure will be.
You could use a touchpad.
And I think it's a Devolver game, right? Devolver, the publisher.
I think so, yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So the chances are, I think that it probably will come out on console fairly soon.
It's a Devolver game. Everyone buy it because it's Devolver.
Yeah. I see no flaw in your argument. Cool. Well, I'm gonna force Preston into a Kaedhen West sandwich and make him go next.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
All snugly in here. So we've got. I've got. Oh wait, never mind. You have to do the timer, right?
Yeah. Are you ready to rock and roll? You sound like you're ready to rock and roll.
I'm fairly ready to rock. I for a second there, I forgot it was a pitch, and I was just like going to chat about it. But so I gotta.
Well, I mean, you can.
Yeah, I just gotta wrap my head around. Gotta wrap my head around like the 2-minute pitch again. Okay, go ahead.
Speed round. 3, 2, 1, go.
So I am currently playing Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. So for anyone that is a D&D fan that remembers fondly the CRPGs of old, but also still wants some of the modern trappings of your Divinity Original Sin turn-based combat, look no further than Wrath of the Righteous, which is, of course, built from the Pathfinder foundation of the TTRPG, which in and of itself used D&D 3.5. So if you're at all familiar with D&D, you're not going to feel too lost here. Now, character customization in this game, just in sort of the breadth, to explain the breadth and the depth of this game, is there are 35 classes that you can choose from at the start of this game. Whoa, and on many of those, it's something like 8 to 10 base classes, and each of those classes has its own subclass. And so ultimately, it's around 35. Now, once you get into the game, you've got your familiar, again, the familiar CRPG thing where you're going to be meeting companions that are all very likable, but also at the same time convincing in a way that you may make decisions against your typical path. For instance, I am always good. I just can't get away from being the good character in any sort of RPG and taking the good route. Yet almost immediately I was met with a decision where I felt like I made the wrong choice, but in the moment I felt like, okay, no, this makes more sense logically, even though I know it's the evil choice. And I was convinced by the character to make the evil choice, which almost never happens in a video game. And
Wow,
so
10
like
seconds.
that speaks to the writing of this game. It's somewhere of about 100 hours, so you got plenty of game for your buck, and it's about $45 on Steam, $49.
Nice. Sorry, I was looking at stats and stuff on the recording,
You're good.
so I didn't give you a big window of like 30 seconds.
No, you're good.
Okay, so I think you already answered this, but this game is turn-based, right?
So yeah, I like immediately got away from that point. That it's actually a pretty big selling point on this
Yeah.
is that you can toggle turn-based mode. And so it'll do the CRPG auto, auto attack with pause or real time with pause, but you can toggle the turn-based and then it becomes more like a typical roll for initiative. You get your turn, you get your moves and stuff like that.
So
and that's like not even it's on the hotbar. You just click a button, changes over to
nice.
turn-based
Like
mode.
it's an
you're good.
important feature. It's like highlighted.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself switching between them or sticking to one or the other? Or?
I always believed that I hated CRPG real time with pause.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's frustrating, especially in the older games. But then I just realized that it's because those older games were just very difficult and hard to manage. And so it's not necessarily any fault of the system itself. Which again, we were talking about doing Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a real time with pause game, and I just never think of it that way. But those games really do all follow that same CRPG path. I actually really like the real time with pause in this. I like the turn base is good. It's as good as anything else, but the real time with pause has a flow to it in a way that I don't feel overwhelmed or fearful. But I'm also pretty early on in the game. I've only put in about 15 hours, which I mean, in a game like this is very, very little. I'm still might as well be in the tutorial zone.
What are you,
and
level
so
3?
and I've had a couple times where like full party wipes, but I never felt like it was beyond my control. And so and it's just one of those games that works really well with it's designed around being played like that, but it's designed well for it.
Sure. One other major question for me before I send it over to the other guys, but these types of games just can't help but launch buggy because there's just so many systems and number crunching going on. So like what is like the state of the game right now? Is it like preventing you from like enjoying the game or progressing or anything like that? Or
so you may purchase this on Steam, but you may also refund it or try to refund it after 15 hours of gameplay because it slogs down. I don't know if you played Wasteland 3 whenever it first came out, but just my CPU hits 100% every single time. It is not really optimized currently in any great state, which is really, really unfortunate because it just seems like an awesome game that I'm craving playing.
Yeah.
And I once I get into it, I certainly can't stream it. I've tried. It chugs. And if you get into an area that's like fire heavy, I mean, you can expect your frames to drop to 15 to 20. And it's it's one of those things like we'll come back to it. I'll pitch it again in 3 months and I'm sure it'll be like super optimized and super great. And I would highly recommend to anyone get it, but I highly recommend also waiting for some hot fixes. But yeah, it's not buggy from what I've seen pretty much at all. It's just not optimized.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean, so if you have like a monster processor, you could probably run this game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I forget what I'm running, but it's a couple years old. It's probably at this point like 5 years old. And so it's nothing super current. But I also have no problem like running Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is an easy run for me. So it's weird that this game that uses
like
less
optimization for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, story-wise, what's pulling me towards this story versus playing something like Divinity or Baldur's Gate? Like, what's the difference? I guess.
So you're gonna get like, whereas there is still like tongue-in-cheek jokes, there is still humor, but this is going to be much more of your straightforward D&D style campaign. Like, you're not going to get as much of like the really heavy humor. They take it very seriously. It's a lot more like the older Baldur's Gate games, and so it's like, if you want to go on that fantastical, you are the chosen one that is out to destroy evil in this land, and see a bunch of very like high fantasy sort of worlds like that. That's this game.
Okay.
By far. I mean, it is your stereotypical or cliche. It's a cliche RPG beginning, but that's the kind of RPG beginning that I like gravitate to sometimes. Like, you actively seek out those tropes.
Yeah.
And it delivers in spades. I mean, you start at a festival that gets destroyed by the big bad, and you have to like go and fight for, fight back up to the festival for the tutorial. And then you lose to the big bad in a scripted ending that makes you kind of restart and rebuild the city. I mean, it's like half of the RPGs that you've played from the 90s and the
I think there's
2000s.
value in that kind of thing still
Oh,
too,
yeah.
because like every day there's new gamers being born who have never played a cliche RPG, and it's,
Yeah, and it works too. They do a really, really great job of this story.
Very
Is
cool.
this a single player only experience, or is there multiplayer options?
As far as right now, it's single player only, and it is currently only on Steam, but they have plans to launch in March. I think it was delayed. It was supposed to be like consoles and PC both at launch, but the console ports got delayed, and so it will come there later. But yeah, it is going to be a fully single player ride. And so it is really one of those, like, take it at your own pace, but you can get absolutely lost, considering I think the reviewer that I saw was beyond the 100-hour limit, and I don't think they had even actually reached the end of the campaign. Like,
Holy God.
yeah, they were like, I mean, I can review it. I've got 100 hours in this game, but I have not seen the ending yet. Which is, it's good and bad. Like, that kind of game can be very frustrating in terms of like just feeling like it slogs on. But that's also up to you as the individual to be like, I can probably skip a couple of these side quests or something, which is not something I'm capable of doing.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it's something that you can lose yourself into.
All right. Well, before we decide, just real quick, what is your class?
It is based off of my D&D character, Quarantine. Quarantine is a Gloomstalker hunter.
Gloomstalkers are sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is they're kind of their version, and it turns out I thought it was their version, but it's an Eldritch hunter.
Oh, okay.
Where you have like just really strong casting as well as just general like bow range.
Very neat. Magical
So that's
beef.
really strong. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm sold with the asterisks, like in like 6 months. This type of games is right up my alley. I love this kind of thing, and I want like a finished product to be able to play while I'm chomping at the bit, waiting for Baldur's Gate 3 to come out in like a year or two.
Yeah.
So once this game is polished up, I'm 100% in for sure.
I would totally do a pitch on just Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3 with how great that game has been.
It's true.
Yeah.
What do you think, Wes?
I don't think my laptop will run this game.
Right.
Honestly, given what you've said, I don't think that I could actually, I don't think I could play it at this point in time. Given the fact that I have like a really limited history with CRPGs, I think I might be tempted to maybe start with something like Divinity Original Sin 2 first before I jumped into something like this. But it's, I think you did a good job pitching the game. It's just not a genre I have a lot of experience with. So I would feel nervous kind of starting with something like this. I think I would maybe jump into like Divinity with a friend first, who could like kind of help show me the ropes a little bit, and then maybe I would jump into that. So maybe by the time it hits consoles, I will have maybe I can convince Kaedhen to like start over and like
Yeah, dude.
show me how these things go or something.
As far as CRPGs go, by the way, on console and on PC Game Pass, you can get Pillars of Eternity 2 and Pillars of
Nice.
Eternity 1. And Pillars of Eternity 2 is fantastic. Like if you've ever wanted to dip your toes into a super long, super deep CRPG, that's the one to go to.
Okay,
That one
great
they
recommendation.
updated eventually with a turn-based.
Yeah, with
mode,
turn-based.
right?
That
So
one you
you
have
take
to
your time with it.
choose at the very beginning. So you can't toggle it.
Okay,
But the turn-based mode is really good. That's how I played it too.
cool. What do you think, Jenna?
So, like Wes, I don't have a lot of experience with these games, and I think the part that kind of kills it for me, I'm not too worried about my processor bogging out and not being able to run the game, but I think the fact that I couldn't play with people, I couldn't see myself sitting here playing that game by myself. I'd have to be playing with somebody, and even though Wasteland 3 doesn't have 3-player co-op, it's got 2 players, and so I'll hang out with Wes and Hunter as they play, and then Hunter's like, okay, you're gonna control this character and I'll just do all the acts and you just tell me what to do, and we'll do that on stream, and that's like super fun. So I think if it had multiplayer, I'd probably be more interested, but I'm probably not gonna ever check this out.
I was really disappointed that it didn't, because it does feel, especially with the turn-based mode, I mean, it just feels like something that would lean itself towards that multiplayer. Because Wasteland 3 or Divinity or Baldur's Gate, like those are all the better for being able to bring someone else in. Like way, way better. Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from there.
Cool. Well, I'll enjoy playing it in a few months.
Thank you, Kaedhen. Yeah.
I'll watch.
Right.
I'll watch.
Yeah, there you go. I'll stream it. You can watch and tell me what to do. Wes, please approach the pitchers now.
It is time for
Get
you.
my shoulder ready here.
Okay.
This pitch.
Get his warm up. All right, sir. Are you ready to pitch?
I will do my best.
3, 2, 1, go.
Imagine, if you will, infiltrating a high-tech, high-security prison high above a steampunk city filled with furry denizens, anthropomorphic animals that have been taken over by a terrible organization of iron dogs that have come. Just think of them almost as this world's version of Nazis that are trying to take over the organization. They're trying to turn everybody into biological cyborgs, trying to mix cybernetic components into all of the citizens while they oppress them. As you approach the next section of the prison, you encounter 2 of the Iron Dog soldiers. One has a giant katana, and the other has a machine gun. They are accompanied by a flying drone with a buzzsaw. Immediately, you double jump over the top of them and come flying down on top of them with a gigantic robotic fist that's strapped to your back. Afterwards, you whip out a gigantic drill, which you're able to create a fiery tornado of death and doom. Then you perform a wall jump, an air dash up to the next platform, and a slide into the next area. These are the kinds of actions that you'll be forming in F.I.S.T, Forged in Shadow Torch, which is a new Metroidvania game, which is currently available, I believe, on PlayStation 5 and Steam. It might be on PS4 as well. But this is an awesome new game I've been playing. And if you have any kind of love for the Mega Man X series with its gameplay, I think you're going to enjoy this game. So
wow, very intrigued. Very intrigued.
Yeah.
You don't get enough drills as weapons in video games. So is this game like a Metroidvania where you're running back and forth on a world map, or is it like stage based like a Mega Man game, or like
no,
what's
it's
going on?
it's a fully open world, fully interconnected Metroidvania game There are different districts that you will visit. There is different fast travel systems that you can utilize, but everything is interconnected. You can run from, if you wanted to, from one section on the far left of the map all the way to the far right of the map if you have the right power-ups to be able to do that.
Awesome. Did you find yourself sexually attracted to any of the characters?
Are you trying to make myself admit that I'm like into furries
I'm not
or something?
trying to make you do anything. I'm just asking a question.
There's a pretty hot ninja cat in the
Nice.
There you go. There you go.
All right, I'm sold.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yep. That's 3 wins
all I
right there.
What is?
Go ahead.
So I know you gave like a moment to moment like action like set piece, right?
Yeah.
Is it very story heavy, like an Ori style, or are we going to feel like is it going to be mostly just action, running gun?
No, there is a central plot that keeps you moving from location to location. And as the plot moves forward, you move into different areas of the game. It doesn't prevent you from going back to old areas. You can go back and revisit old areas anytime you want. There's nothing really preventing you from doing that. But it does have a centralized plot, and it's I wouldn't say it's like super deep, but actually the characters are. I would say the characters are memorable. The ones that you interact with. You have your best friend who's a giant bear that gets abducted kind of at the beginning of the game. Your first objective in the game is to kind of rescue your friend from this prison, from the Iron Dogs, and then you kind of, as you go through, you kind of meet supporting characters in this resistance that are kind of pushing back against the Iron Dogs and their oppression of the city.
Cool.
Is there anything about this game that stands out as like unique in the genre?
It has so all of the combat pretty much is melee combat, which is I mean, I guess it's not anything truly unique. Like within Symphony of the Night or something like that, it's all melee combat, but it's very, very heavily combo based with the combat. So
Okay.
as
That
you,
is kind of unique.
yeah, so technically your individual hits, your punches, or you have several other weapons. I haven't even gotten all the weapons yet. I mentioned the drill. You get a giant fist, a giant drill. You get new combo moves basically as you go through and you unlock. So technically you're not necessarily doing more damage, but you're getting new moves that kind of like expand your skill set. And it is very, very heavily combo based. So you're like, okay, this new move is square, square, triangle, square. And so you'll do 2 regular punches, like a spinning like tornado punch, knock the guy up into the air and then slam him back down into the ground.
Nice.
That's cool.
So it feels really good, but it's also very kind of like you can't just button mash through it because you'll miss the combo. So you have to be pretty cognizant of what you're doing when you're actually trying to execute these things.
I like
so
that.
it could be really good for somebody that's really into like a combo heavy action game like a Devil May Cry or something like that. As you kind of chain moves together, you get a parry in the game as well.
Sick.
So you can parry enemies' attacks, kind of throw them off base and go in for ripostes and stuff like that as well.
Right. Jonah, you got any questions?
No,
You're still stuck on that sexy ninja cat.
yeah, just no, you kind of just sold me with the game having a parry. Like, I didn't realize how much I'd love a parry in a Metroidvania until I played Metroid Dread, and like, oh.
Yeah, it's something that you unlock kind of as you go through the story, so you don't have it straight away.
Oh, then I'm not buying it.
Okay. I guess I just blew my own pitch. I will say the game looks and runs beautifully. So it's not a pixel art game. It's the graphics are definitely so you'll see like the camera shift and tilt and zoom in and pop out. There are cutscenes, and the character models look really, really good. I mean, these look like your character's a rabbit named Ray. And he looks like a badass jackrabbit with a giant robot fist strapped to his back.
Is there voice acting in this game?
Yep, it's fully voice acted.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the production values are really, really nice.
Have you eaten it?
Sorry?
I heard that as eaten it.
Have you eaten it? Have you eaten it? Have you beaten the game?
I have not beat it yet. I'm a little over I'm probably about 60% of the way through, I think. I was trying to gauge like how far I was the other day, just like with a full walkthrough on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, just about 60% of the way where I was.
So what's like the playtime?
Yeah, that's it.
Is this like Hollow Knight or more like
No,
Metroid
it's not.
playtime?
It's not. I think if you were to go for the platinum, it's upwards to 20 hours.
Okay.
If you just want to play and do a general playthrough, it's probably somewhere like 12-ish hours, probably in that range.
Yeah, that's pretty meaty.
Yeah, no, it's a good playtime.
So
And I think it's $30. So it's not like
Yeah.
it's not a $60 game by any means. So
Mhm.
good value for the time.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm in for sure. Especially after playing Metroid Dread, and I won't go into it too much because we have our game club on it next month. But yeah, dude, I'm sold. I'm ready for another good Metroidvania, and this sounds like it's right up my alley.
The haptics feel really good with the PS5 controller too.
Okay,
Feel
I'll
the
buy it
feel?
twice then.
Oh, yeah. So they actually did implement stuff with it,
Yep.
especially it being like an indie developer. Like I would assume that is really hard to, design
Mhm.
for.
I
whenever you have
wouldn't
a
say
smaller
that it's
team.
like on the level of like a Returnal or
Yeah.
any of the first party games, but there's definitely, you can feel it as you're
Yeah, that's cool.
as their stuff's exploding or your punches are
So,
landing and stuff like that. So
you biting, Preston?
I think so. I think I'll probably would get Inscryption first, but this game, like, I have been really wanting. I won't be getting Metroid Dread soon. Even with all the hype, I just for some reason, like, there's a block there for me with Metroid games. But this does sound like something, like, because I love Ori, I love these kinds of games.
Mm.
That sounds like a solid entry.
I think if you
Yeah.
like Ori, you'll enjoy this game. The exploration is there are secrets to find off the beaten path. It's not I wouldn't probably Ori is like my second favorite Metroidvania game, and I wouldn't put it quite that high, but it's definitely on the top 10 list, I think, so far.
Oh yeah.
So
Cool. Well, yeah, as for myself, I'm definitely in. I love the genre. Playing a badass jackrabbit with a huge rocket fist sounds like dope. So
You're forgetting the
Yeah.
most important hot
sexy
katana
ninja
cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
is
discount the
there
hot
a
ninja cat.
BioWare-esque awkwardly animated sex scene between the jackrabbit and the ninja cat.
I have not come across that yet. I'm
Okay,
keeping my
so you're
hopes high.
saying there's a chance.
He's only at 60%, not 69%.
All right, guys. Well, on that note, we're gonna head into our break. So catch you on the flip side. And we're back from the break. Everybody's watered. Everybody's used the bathroom, and it's time for Wes Bates to take us into a game.
Woo!
All right, everybody, we are returning to an old favorite, the good old speed round of Video Game 20 Questions. So you guys are, once again, you're going to work as a team. You have 20 questions. We will be going in order. It will be Jonah, Kaedhen, Preston. Jonah, Kaedhen, Preston. You have 20 seconds to ask a question. If you don't ask a question within 20 seconds, you lose that question. After 7 questions, you will have 1 minute to come together to strategize. And then we will resume for another 7 questions. At the very end, you have to guess what game I'm thinking of. And if you ask the wrong game, if you say, is it this game? And you're wrong, you lose the game. So keep that in mind. Any questions before we start?
Nope.
Right. Jonah, you will ask the first question.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
3, 2, 1, go.
Is this game an exclusive?
No.
Okay. Was this game developed by a Japanese game development studio?
No. Preston.
Did this game come out before 2000, the year 2000.
No. Jonah.
Did this game come out after 2010?
No.
Okay.
Kaedhen.
Does this game have 3-dimensional graphics?
Yes. Preston.
Does this game have guns?
No. Jonah.
Is this game open world?
No. That's 7.
So
All right. You have 1 minute starting now.
I have no idea which direction. So 2000 to 2010, not open
Right.
world, no guns,
And it's
not Japanese developer.
And it's not an exclusive.
But it is 3D.
But it's not an exclusive. So could it be a sports game then?
Could be.
Oh, it could be.
We got a narrow genre for sure.
Is it going to be what's NCAA 2K5, which I think is supposed to be the best one?
What?
Okay, I don't. What direction should we take this in? Do we
I
want to
think
discuss
my next
genres?
question will be if it's considered AAA, then we should like narrow genres.
Oh.
For sure.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Let's work on genres.
Yeah.
Okay.
10
How many?
seconds.
I think we're ready.
So after genres, do we go into anything else?
We'll figure it out as we go, I guess.
Okay.
Let's try and find what generation of games it's on.
All right,
Or
that's
system.
time. So, Kaedhen, you're kicking us off starting now.
Okay. Did this game release on the PS3 or Xbox 360? Either or.
Yes.
Okay.
Preston.
Is this a sports game?
No. Jonah.
Is this an action adventure game?
Yes.
Ooh.
Kaedhen.
Is this game considered AAA?
Yes. Preston.
Is this game created from a first-party studio?
No. It's not. Jonah.
Oh, dang it. Does this game have magic in it?
Yes.
Well, it was
Kaedhen.
no, it was exclusive.
Oh, okay. AAA adventure with magic. Is the main character a human male?
Yes. And that's 7 questions. You have 1 more minute to converse. Starting
Okay.
now.
Kaedhen, it sounds like you kind of got an idea.
Let's go over what we do know. It's came out on PS3 and or Xbox 360, an action adventure AAA game with magic in it and no guns. And the main character is a human male.
I mean, there's Fable.
Oh, The
right? But that's
Witcher.
first party.
The Witcher.
Oh.
Wait, when did Witcher 3 come out? That was like 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that
there's
would,
Witcher
There's like
2
Witcher
came
1
out in
too.
2012. The Witcher 1
Yeah.
came out. I don't think it's The
Yeah.
Witcher though.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I
what
don't know if
what is
Witcher 1 and 2
Ubisoft?
counts AAA.
What does Ubisoft put out?
I don't think they have any magic games, right? Like around that time.
No.
Beyond Good
Just
and
got their
Evil?
head too far
No,
up.
that's not a game,
Assassin's
man.
Creed's ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm
would
not
that be
sure.
considered magic? Like there is magic kind of
Well,
in
it's
Assassin's
like
Creed,
it's like advanced technology. I don't know. I guess it depends on West, but I don't really think it's Assassin's Creed.
And that is
Do we wanna figure out studio?
time. That is time.
but, yeah, studio.
So, let's see. Sorry, who asked the last question? Preston,
I
did you
did.
ask the last question?
I
Okay,
did.
sorry. Preston, so you'll be kicking us back off in 3, 2, 1, starting now.
You got 20 seconds.
Is-
dude.
It's not open world, by the way. Just remember.
Oh. Is it an EA game?
No. Jonah.
Said it's AAA. Do you have a companion in this game?
Please specify.
You mean like God of War style?
Like, is it just the character? Like, I'm asking, is there a companion or companions in this game?
There are other
members?
there are
Did you
other
ask for party
characters.
members?
There are other characters that are allied with your character.
Like party members.
No.
Oh, okay.
Kaedhen.
Does this game have The Witcher in the title?
No.
Okay.
Preston.
I guess this is kind of EA, but is are there multiple party members?
No.
I think you already said that.
Yeah.
We already
No.
asked. Oh
I'm
no!
sorry.
Wasted a question.
2 questions left. Jonah.
Oh no, we're doing really bad.
Dude, I'm spacing so hard on this. Watch, it's like a Yakuza game again.
Oh my god. Okay.
3,
Oh,
2,
it's not open world.
1.
Did this game come out
Sorry.
in 2008?
Another wasted question.
No.
I know. I didn't
no.
have
Kaedhen,
anything.
last question. 20
Holy
seconds. Go.
Really got to make this count. Is it? No.
10 seconds.
Can you drive a car?
No.
Magic, no guns, but you can drive.
No.
a car.
No, you can't. All right, I will give you
Oh,
30
that was-
seconds to come up with a guess.
Oh my god! I have literally
Starting
no
now.
idea.
3,
Okay.
2, 1,
Is-
go.
It's a third-party game. Third-party
Yeah,
game
yeah.
that is not exclusive, but has magic, and it's in stages of some sort. At least
Not
it's
open
not
world,
open
yeah.
world.
It could have zones like a Final Fantasy X, but that's it's not Japanese. It's not a Final Fantasy. What? Man, just what Western or non-Japanese games in that time period that were AAA and not open world?
All
Magic.
right, that's it. That's 30 seconds.
Oh man, I have no.
I have
do
no
you have
idea.
Do you have a guess?
Preston,
I have a guess.
Preston
for
has a
it.
guess.
Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Whoa.
That is a very
Wow.
good guess. That is a
Wow.
very good guess. It's not the game. I'm sorry.
That was a credible
Dang.
guess.
That was a very good guess.
It matched all the criteria, I think.
So, released in 2010,
Oh.
Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Oh,
From
myself
Spanish
Oh my
developer
God.
Mercury Steam.
Spanish developer. Oh my
We should have
God.
known it would
I-
somehow
well-
be related.
I didn't think
Is
because
the game.
Konami is
Yeah, it's
Japanese.
developed by Mercury Steam.
Your question was the developer Japanese?
Yeah.
The developer was not Japanese. The publisher was Japanese.
Do you know what
Lords of
pisses me
Shadow
off the
won.
most about this? Is I
What?
literally had a conversation with Wes on Thursday about this freaking game.
Oh man.
It was a valiant effort.
I just want to shout out Lords of Shadow 1 is underrated and has a really dope ending and promise of what would happen in the future. And then Lords of Shadow 2 just totally shit the bed on the expectations at the end of Lords of Shadow 1 and just ruined the entire series. So
Is it
just
the
saying.
same developer?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what happened. It's like it feels like it was made by two different developers. But anyway.
I think they maybe tried to get a little bit too ambitious with it or something,
mhm.
Hey,
Great
you
job,
should have
though, Wes,
brought
on the
you should
game.
have brought
Thank
that for great game mistakes.
Lords of Shadow 2?
Yeah.
Get a rematch.
You
Get a
should have brought
rematch.
that for
Yeah.
Great Game
Oh
Mistakes.
my
That's like your
God.
most maligned game of all time.
I absolutely love Lords of Shadow 1, and then
Yeah.
Lords of Shadow 2 just that's like my Cyberpunk, like my biggest
Sometimes
disappointment game.
I still reference that horse at the beginning of the first game that's like, climb onto my back.
I
Anyway,
wonder if that one still holds up. If you can go back and really
I think it would. I need to replay it.
still play through it.
It's on. I'm sure it's probably backwards compatible on.
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Series
Oh, yeah.
X. It is
Is
on
it on
PlayStation
Steam?
now. Also, I
Yeah.
think you can play it.
Wow.
I might have to try it. I want to
Yeah.
play that game again.
Lucius Malfoy plays Satan in that game. It's pretty cool.
That was going to be my question.
Spoilers, man. Spoilers. Come on.
I was going to ask if Lucius Malfoy played Satan in that game.
So
no,
how many losses?
I was thinking Harry Potter for some reason.
I think this is our second loss.
This is your second loss. You guys missed the Yakuza one the last time, even though you brought it up like 3 times during the course.
No, that one was embarrassing.
That was really bad. I don't feel as bad about this one, but it still kind of hurts. But
it's so weird how like generically specific this game was. Like it's so
human male, third AAA, multi-platform, 3D action adventure with magic.
Now there are guns in the second one because it takes place in the future.
Yeah.
And I don't care about spoiling that because that game's trash.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe Knack is better than that game. But...
Wow, that's saying something coming from you.
It's something.
Would you say you said Knack 2 was worse, right, than Knack 1?
Yeah, I had more technical problems with Knack 2 than Knack 1.
So not only is
more glitches.
Lords of Shadow 2 just a bad game, it's like technically a bad game too. I think we should do a comparison of Lords of Shadow 2 versus
Lords of Shadow.
You better watch out. You better watch out.
Renacting.
Jonah's gonna make you play Lords of Shadow 2 in your next bet. You better watch out.
That's a big commitment too.
That's a huge commit.
Did you beat Knack 1 and Knack 2? I know you said you had an issue with Knack 1 and that you beat it, but did you beat Knack 2?
Weird relationship with Knack because my kid brother got into it. He was like the target audience, I guess. And we got Knack 2 so we could do the co-op. And we just ran into like a progress halting bug that we couldn't get past.
That's so wild.
I love that happened to you in both games.
Yeah. So the Knack 1, I got like 4 hours into it and I felt like I've been playing it for like 20 hours and I just stopped. Like I couldn't finish it. So technically I've not fulfilled my bet with
seeing Kaedhen's thread after he lost that bet. He's just like, oh God, please no. Please no, I don't want to play this. And then he starts it up. He's like, okay, here we go. And he's like, I'm only 2 hours into this game and I already want to beat my head against the wall.
It's like the Steve Carell Office meme. No, please God, no.
Man. All right, guys. Well, we did it. We made it to the end. It's time for final thoughts. As our guest, Preston, I'll give you your final thoughts first. Anything that's on your mind, anything you want to plug, just go for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as plugs go, of course, Level 0 and Trivia Punks. We just had a fantastic stream yesterday that Rob from the Draft Punks put together. So I'd like to congratulate the Draft Punks and the Spelunkers. They reached over $2,000 for
awesome.
Extra Life.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was just a lot involved from the, obviously the community coming out, showing up and hanging out, donating. And then of course, just a lot of involved sort of on the back end, right? With just planning and reaching out to some really awesome people that came on and joined the stream as well. So yeah, just in general, congratulations to them.
That's
awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, I'll pass it right along to you, Jonah.
We brought it up earlier. We've got our game club for Metroid Dread, November 14th. It was just awesome having Preston on.
Thank you.
Like one of these other shows where I'm just like super pumped to like get to have like a solid conversation face to face with you and just like,
yeah,
hang out.
I really
It's
appreciate
awesome.
y'all offering. Like this was a ton of fun. So like I feel free to ask anytime and I'd always be happy to come back. This is great.
You might regret that. We also have another giveaway. So that awesome Doom Eternal poster that we have yet to give away. The way you can enter is by joining that game club, and just joining it automatically enters you in, and you get to play an awesome game, talk about it with some awesome people, and then have the chance to win a poster, an awesome poster at that. That's a win-win-win, baby.
Yeah, dude. Straight up.
That's all I got.
Wes, no thoughts, Wes?
Oh, sorry. Kicking it to me. I didn't hear you. Just again, thanks Preston for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure hanging with you, and just been a pleasure. Last thoughts. Please check out Metroid Dread. It's an awesome game, and if you enjoy it, like Jonas said, consider coming and talking with us about it, about how much you liked it or didn't like it on the Game Club. That's what we do. This is the last one of the year coming up in November. We're going to be taking a couple months off after that, so get it in while the getting's good.
Couple months off of Game Club. We will still be putting the podcast out every other week for you.
Right.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes.
Cool. Well, as usual, just to plug our media, find us on YouTube at the Great Game Debate channel. Our Discord's the Great Game Debate. Twitter is at Great Game Debate, spelled DEB, the number 8. And I think on the YouTube and the Twitter, you can get a link to join our Discord. Super chill, non-toxic environment. Just talk about games. And my final thoughts is my wife had to go into work late today because she had a test for school. So she's going to be gone for a few hours. So I think as soon as we're done with this recording, I'm going to go on rule34.com and search Fist Forged in Shadow.
I wouldn't start with Fist.
Really? Are you sure? As always, I've been your host, Kaedhen Berthay Lane. And as always, happy gaming. Bye.
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 As always, a big thank you to our friend Mist-Driven for the music in our podcast. If you like what you hear and you want to check out more of what they have, you can pay them a visit on Twitter at MIST_RIVEN719 or on Bandcamp at Mist-Driven. Thanks again for tuning in. Till next time.